Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Thanks for sharing your Monday with us here at Northwestern University. We're very excited to have this student panel with you today. My name is Quinton Sprull. I am an assistant director of admission at the university. I'm also a double alum, having received my bachelor's from the School of Education and Social Policy back in 2009, and my master's from the School of Communication back in 2017. I'm also proudly from Chicago. So I'm also joined here today by a great panel of students that you guys are going to hear from. I'm going to shoot it over to Kylie, who will be moderating for a round of introductions. Kylie.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. My name is Kylie Breath. I'm a graduate counselor in our Office of Admissions at Northwestern, but I'm also a current graduate student in our School of Education and Social Policy, pursuing my master's in higher education administration, and I'm originally from the suburbs of Chicago. I'm going to go ahead and throw it to Leah.
Hey everyone, my name is Leah. I'm a fourth year student in the School of Engineering, studying material science and engineering. I'm originally from Frederick, Maryland, and one really cool thing I do on campus is that I'm in a dance group. Now I'm going to pass it over to Simone.
Hi, my name is Simone. I'm a current fourth year studying Anthropology, Environmental Policy, and Sustainability in the Weinberg College of Arts and Sciences. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois, and I give research in a neuro lab on campus. Candice, do you want to go next?
Sure thing. Hi there, folks. My name is Candace Seblak, and I'm a fifth-year senior on the dual degree track. I study creative writing in the College of Arts and Sciences and opera performance in the Beaton School of Music. I'm originally from Long Beach, California, so just south of LA. And one fun thing that I'm a part of on campus is our a cappella community. I'm a part of a co-ed a cappella group known as the X Factors. I'm going to pass it off to Elam.
And last but certainly least, hello everybody. My name is Elam. I'm a second year on campus studying physics and theater as a double major. I'm originally from Sugar Land, Texas. And one cool thing that I do on campus is that I operate the world's largest telescope as of 150 years ago. So I think that's everybody.
I love Elam's intro. It never gets old. I'm always amazed. So yeah, again, thank you guys for joining us. We have quite a few of you guys, so I'm sure you guys have questions. So be sure to send them over to the chat section. List them there. We'll be sure to get to them in just a few moments. So what we're going to do, the way the format of this is going to be, is I'll give a brief intro of Northwestern as a whole, maybe 10 minutes of me talking, and then I'm going to shoot over to Kylie so we can start our Q&A. All right. So Northwestern, who are we? It starts with our students. And we have a diverse community of about 8,000 undergraduate students here on campus, representing all 50 states and more than 80 countries. And by diversity, we really, it's obviously we're talking about the geographic diversity, but it means diversity in every single sense of the word, because diversity really enriches our small discussion-based classes, and it adds to our robust learning environment. So by diversity, we mean obviously geographic diversity, but also ethnic diversity, cultural diversity, religious diversity, gender identity and expression, political expression, whatever you name, that's who we are on this campus. And we're proud to create a space on campus where everyone feels they're welcome and that he can build off of these perspectives. So our small discussion-based classes takes course in one of our 6 schools. So we have a 6-school model here at the university where our students are enrolled in at least one of our individual schools. And from largest to smallest, the largest school is the Weinberg College of Arts and Sciences, which actually has about 50% of our students enrolled in one of their 45 plus majors. Then there's the McCormick School of Engineering, which uses a whole brain philosophy to underscore, I suppose, the curriculum there. I really think the School of Engineering is super cool. All of our schools are really cool. The School of Communication has a range of areas of study from theater and radio, television, and film to communication sciences and human communication sciences as well. The School of Music is our only conservatory on campus, and it has both performance as well as non-performance majors. The Medill School of Journalism and Integrated Marketing Communication is a very long name for a school that does something really, really well, and that is journalism. So one major is offered there. And then last but not least, you've heard it referenced twice, is the mighty but small School of Education and Social Policy. It's a school that doesn't just offer secondary teaching, but it also offers concentrations like learning sciences, organizational theory and practice, human development and psychological sciences, etc. So it's kind of like the conscience of the undergraduate body is sort of housed in the School of Education and Social Policy. So, although we have 6 distinct schools, learning takes place across all schools, and we try to encourage our students, do a very good job at it, at encouraging our students to take classes across all 6 schools. So your learning takes place not within just one discipline. Our quarter system actually helps with that. So as opposed to schools that have a semester system where there are 2 distinct academic terms, the university really has 4 distinct academic terms, with most of your learning taking place during the fall, winter, or spring quarters. The quarters are 10 weeks at length, and you're taking about 4 courses in each of those quarters. If you do the math, and I was not a math major, that's about 48 courses over the course of your 4 years here, which are about, I believe, 8 to 10 more courses than you would take at a school that has a semester school. So there's a great opportunity to explore, just given the number of courses you're able to take here at the university. In fact, over 70% of our students pursue more than one major, and that's because, again, the academic flexibility that is allowed through our quarter system. A major, for instance, is only about 15 to 18 courses, whereas a minor is about 8 to 10 courses, and a certificate might be about 4 courses or so. So that means, again, about most of your courses are going to be in that 18 range, so there's so much opportunity to fill in that 48 class gap with classes across the schools, and with interdisciplinary opportunities abound. So it's not at all uncommon, as you'll learn from our students a little bit later, for students to major in dance and neuroscience, or engineering and political science. So there's lots of room to explore, and we'll talk a little bit more about our electives and distribution requirements as well that helps allow that as well. So we don't really have a core requirement here at the university. So that really, again, encourages you to explore across the 6 schools. So although we have 8,000 students here on campus, you won't have a lot of students in your classes, actually. We have a 6-to-1 student to faculty ratio, with about 80% of our courses having fewer than 20 students. You'll have all of your all of your classes are taught by renowned faculty. Some of them are Nobel Prize winners, members of the National Academy of Sciences. Some of them are even Grammy winners. My favorite, which I'm still waiting, keeping my pulse on, is and Anna Shapiro, who's currently directing the Broadway debut of The Devil Wears Prada. So she's a proud member of our 1200 faculty as well. So there's a great opportunity to be instructed by a superb caliber faculty. So your academic journey as well, it doesn't just take place in the classroom, it also takes place outside of the classroom in a number of ways. That could be through a number of innovation centers, such as the Garage, which is our entrepreneurship hub, the Night Lab, which develops digital tools for media makers, and the Media and Design Studio, which helps faculty and students create multimedia projects. Research is also a huge deal at the university. We are a Tier 1 research university, which means that research opportunities are available to all of our undergrads, with over $3.5 million every year awarded to undergraduates to pursue their research. Outside of the campus, there's tons of opportunity that happens there as well. About 70% of our students receiving some sort of internship or co-op experience by the time they graduate. They are studying abroad in one of our 150 plus programs. They're using our alumni network to score jobs and internships, with about 96% of our students actually receiving a full-time job offer or placement in a graduate program within 6 months of their graduating. So kudos us. We also have over 500 student organizations on campus, and our campus is phenomenal, second to none. We are a small, we're in the town of Evanston, which is a relatively small suburb, just about 3 miles north of the city of Chicago. The campus itself is about a mile long. So it feels small, but not tiny. It feels large, but not overwhelming. Again, we're about 3 miles north of the city of Chicago, and you can access Chicago in a number of ways. Chicago is accessible through our intercampus shuttle, which is absolutely free. All students have to do is show their student ID, and they're downtown, which is about 12 miles south of us, the center of downtown Chicago. They're downtown in about 45 minutes, or they can pay about $3 and get on the Purple Line Express, which is actually one of the city of Chicago's main train lines. And that gets you downtown relatively quickly as well. So Chicago is hugely accessible and integrated as well, not into the social atmosphere of the university, but also the curricular aspects as well. Going to sum it up in a little bit. Let's switch gears and talk about admissions and financial aid. So there's two ways to apply to the university. One route is early decision, and the other route is regular decision. Early decision applications are due November 1st, while regular decision applications are due January 2nd. The primary difference between early decision and regular decision is that if you apply early decision, you should do so because you're super, super, super excited about Northwestern. You've learned so much, you fell in love with each of us today, you spent $100 on a sweatshirt, everything in your wardrobe is purple like mine, and Northwestern is the #1 school for you. If you're admitted through early decision, that is a binding route that you would take. So if you're admitted, you have to withdraw your applications from other schools because then you're committed to attending the university. That's why it's an earlier deadline and you get your decision earlier as well. If that is too stringent for you, which is totally fine, about 50% of our applicants also choose to apply through the regular decision route, which is, again, the deadline is January 2nd. You should submit a coalition application or a common application, whichever you're most familiar with. We'll accept them both. We do also require SAT or ACT scores as well. Self-reported scores are permitted, and we'll super score them for you. 2 letters of recommendation are also required. So one from a counselor and one from a core subject teacher. While we do require just 2, you are allowed to submit more than 2, but just ensure that the additional letters of recommendation are offering an additional perspective. So that can be from a coach or choir member, anyone that offers a different perspective than your counselor or your teacher. Your personal statement and your Why Northwestern section, those are 2 writing sections that we require. Your personal statement's very simple. You can write about whatever you want to write about. We just want to ensure that you're in there. So it's a great opportunity for us to really learn more about you, your SAT scores, your transcripts, your extracurriculars, your recommendations. That is a perspective of you. So your personal statement is an excellent opportunity, not just for us to assess your writing skills, but the clarity of your purpose, your intent, your character, just more about you. And then there's the Why Northwestern statement, which is a supplement. So it's not required, but we strongly encourage you to submit it. Very short, very simple question, why Northwestern? We wouldn't advise you to sort of just spew more facts. We actually want you to talk earnestly about what connects you to Northwestern, what makes you what would make you a great Wildcat, what would make you a great roommate, a great fellow peer, a great future alum. What connects you specifically with Northwestern? That's what we really want to hear. Context also matters when we review your application. So not just the academic profile, but we recognize that all of our students, as I said earlier, comes from all over the world. And so not all schools are the same, not all students are the same, so context matters. So the number of AP courses you take may be different than the number available at a different school. The context of your particular extracurricular outline is different than some other students. So we really value context as we review your admissions application. Financial aid is actually a separate process for us at admissions. We have a need blind policy, which means we don't actually, the admission staff, we do not look at a family's financial portfolio or financial profile, I should say, when determining whether or not we want to admit a student. We have a whole separate office that reviews a student's application for financial aid comprehensively, and they actually award over, they actually meet 100% of a family's demonstrated need. And they do so with all scholarship as well. So by that, we mean that let's take the cost of attendance and then the expected family contribution. The difference is what we call demonstrated need. So let's say the cost of attendance is about $50,000 and the expected family contribution, let's say is let's say it's $20,000 is better. So that means the difference of $30,000 is covered fully in Northwestern scholarship, renewable for about 4 years, assuming your family circumstances are the same, and it's all free money, no loans at all. The university awards awards financial aid to about 60% of our students, which is a budget of about $200 million every single year. So students and their families are not concerned about affordability as a matter of consideration for attending our great university. So a lot of me just talking there. But we've hoped this has given you a lot of information to consider and hope we've gotten some questions percolating over there in that chat section. We're going to hand it over to Kylie so we can get started with our student panel. So send those questions over and let's get to learning. Kylie.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Quinton. All that information is super helpful. But now we students are here to answer the rest of the questions that you may have. So we're going to jump right in with a question about the theater program. So Elam, one of your majors is in theater. Would you mind speaking a little bit about the theater program and also sharing your favorite thing about the theater program?
Yeah, absolutely. I am a theater physics double major, which is fantastic. Something that I was really excited about the theater program coming into school is that they will take any level of theater experience. So I came from a high school that didn't have a great theater program, but I knew that I still really wanted to be involved in theater. And so Northwestern was a great opportunity for me to get in on a great college education for theater without having these, big theater experiences behind me. We have over 80 productions of both musicals, plays, and dance performances on campus every single year. And if you're doing the math, there's not 80 weeks in the school year. So there's at least 2 or 3 performances happening every single weekend. So even if you're not interested in, performing in theater or working backstage, there's still a multitude of performances for you to see every weekend, which is awesome. If you are interested in performing, every single theater performance is open audition. So there's not any performances that are only auditioning by theater majors or dance majors or music majors. Anybody's welcome to audition for theater productions on campus, whether they be student run or professionally run, which is a really great opportunity. A lot of my best friends who are in theater are not theater majors. They're creative writing majors or engineering majors, which is an awesome opportunity. My favorite thing about the theater program is how diverse it is in terms of what you can be involved in. You can be involved in improv shows or, an after hours, like comedy review. We have a bunch of musicals, dance performances, plays, ranging from the most hilarious plays you've ever seen to the most heart-wrenching plays. So anything that you're really interested in is probably open on campus to working on. I also will say, as a performer, I do a lot of acting as well, but I also have done a lot of lighting design, which is awesome for me to expand my interests while I'm on campus. So hopefully that answers your question. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So like you mentioned, Elam is double majoring in physics and theater, but there's also an opportunity at Northwestern to dual degree, which is something that Candice is doing. So Candice, would you mind speaking a little bit about the differences between double majoring and dual degree, along with the difference in the application process for both of those programs?
Great. So I'll start with the application process. So if you are interested in dual degree, you'll list both schools that you're interested in applying to in your Uncommon App or Coalition application. For the only additional thing that you would have to do for the Beanin School of Music, so say if you're interested in dual degree in Beanin and an outside school, one of our 5 other schools, you will also have to fill out additional supplemental recordings and have an on-campus audition as well. But a little bit more about the differences, the technical differences between dual degree and double major. I like to say that for double major, you end up with one piece of paper with 2 lines on it. So typically you only need 4 years to complete that program, and you'll have one homeschool. So taking that same idea of say in my example, if I was a double major in voice and creative writing, my homeschool would be the Beanin School of Music, so I would be required to do the graduation requirements for the Beanin School. So that includes our music theory and oral skills on top of my major requirements of the voice major. And then for my second major of creative writing, I would only have to do the major requirements. On the opposite end, for dual degree, you'll end up with 2 pieces of paper, each with their own line on them, and that typically takes 5 years to complete. And the difference in my case is that not only do I do the graduation requirements for the Beaton School of Music, I also do the graduation requirements for the Weinberg College of Arts and Sciences. So that includes like a first year seminars and as well as a language requirement. So that's a little bit about the difference between the two of those.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Candace. That's a great explanation between signifying that difference. We're going to switch gears a little bit and flip things over to the STEM side of things. So Leah, would you mind talking a little bit about the collaboration and hands-on opportunities in McCormick?
Yeah, so I think one thing that's really great about studying engineering at Northwestern is that there are so many opportunities to just be hands-on and designing things right off the bat. So rather than waiting until you're maybe a senior and you kind of know what you're doing, they kind of throw you in freshman year into this really collaborative, exciting environment, which I think is really cool. One of the main requirements for engineers in their first year is to take a class called Design Thinking and Communication. We call it DTC, but essentially you're given a client in Chicagoland area who has some sort of problem, and you're put in a team of like 4 students and you get to solve it, which for me was really exciting to just kind of be able to work on a team, really collaborate and build a real product for real people. My first time doing this class, you have to take it twice in your freshman year. But my first time, we were working with the Rehabilitation Institute of Chicago. There was a woman there who had an amputation, but she wanted to be able to paint her nails with her one hand that she had. So we had to design a whole setup for her to be able to do that. So that was really exciting. And so just having those kind of opportunities. And I think another thing that's really exciting is that it's just so collaborative. So like my major is really small. There's probably about 10 people graduating with it, but we all are constantly studying together, working together, and like designing opportunities together, which is really cool.
Awesome. Thank you, Leah. So you spoke a lot about collaboration, working in team-based communities within McCormick. But Simone, I'm curious, we're getting questions about what the vibe on Northwestern's campus is, whether it's competitive or more collaborative. Could you speak a little bit about that community on campus?
Yeah, of course. I think that we are very lucky here at Northwestern to really be a fantastic community of people. Just based on this panel alone, everyone at Northwestern is really exploring their unique passions, and they've really just ranged the spectrum of different types of interests, both majors, minors, academic interests, as well as extracurricular interests as well. I also have never felt competition on this campus. I know that sometimes it may feel like if one person succeeds, you can't, but I've never experienced that at Northwestern. For example, I took organic chemistry, and I was worried that because I wasn't doing so well on the first quiz, then everyone else was going to just pass me by. But actually people in my small group, in my small study group, gave me their study guides and helped me learn some of the material I wasn't comfortable with. So there's collaboration both inside and outside of the classroom on Northwestern's campus, and that's something I actually really love about it here.
Thank you, Simone. So a little bit more about that student life side of things. Elam, would you be able to share what the typical day in the life of a Northwestern student looks like, that balance of classes and extracurricular activities and getting work done and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously right now our days are a little different with Zoom classes and whatnot, but to take you back quarter back to the winter 2020 quarter, a typical day for me would start off by me actually going to work at the Works Performing Arts Center. I worked as a lighting technician, and so I would go work there for a few hours. Then I'd go to class, depending on if it was a Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That would either be my theater classes or my physics classes. I generally had about 3 hours of class every day, give or take, and it all fell kind of in the middle of the day. So I took those classes from around 11 till 4, depending on which day it was, again, obviously. And then sometimes I would give a tour, because I also work as a tour guide on campus, and so that was pretty typical. Then after, in the evenings and whatnot, I would generally go to a rehearsal for a show, depending on what show I'm working about. I would do that, or on the days that I didn't have rehearsal, I also work as I am the leader of a company run through Northwestern's entrepreneurship center known as The Garage. Me and my friends founded a board game company, which is really exciting. So we work together to design board games and whatnot. So I would go to meetings for that, maybe do some work in the garage. If not any of those things, then I would probably be working on homework with some friends. I really like the study groups that we have at Northwestern. So that's pretty typical in the day for me. I would probably do whatever I was doing until around 10 or 11, then hang out with friends for a few hours, then go to bed and do it all the next day. So it's always very busy. Northwestern is definitely made me work on my time management skills to make sure that I get enough sleep, but I'm also able to do everything that I want to do, and also prioritizing, what's important for me as a student. So it's definitely busy, but it's every day is a new exciting challenge. So.
Great, thank you so much. Very busy, like you shared, but I think it's really interesting that every student, while they have similar things that they're doing, it's at different times, different things, different involvements, which is really amazing thing about the Northwestern community. So we have a question about the professor-student relationship. Leah, would you be able to talk a little bit about how often you're able to talk to your professors and maybe some experiences that you've had working with faculty members?
Yeah, that's a really great question. In my experience, the professors are incredibly accessible. All of the professors are required to hold office hours at least a couple times a week for any classes they're teaching, which means they're kind of forced by the university to be accessible to you. But I think a lot of them really embrace it and go above and beyond. And we'll have office hours. Some professors every single day will be available or available by email really easily. For me, since we have such a small student faculty ratio, it means that you can actually get to know your professors really one-on-one, which I think is really special. Like there's this one professor I had my first quarter freshman year for like an intro engineering class that feels like forever ago. But he's still, anytime he sees me on campus, he always stops and says hello, asks me how I'm doing, asks me personal things about my life. So we were able to build a professional relationship then, and he's still like keeping up with me and like helping me with my career goals, which is really valuable. Another really important thing is that you get an advisor on campus, which in my case is a professor I work with. So this advisor is someone I meet every time before I'm like registering for classes, and she has really helped me kind of discover what I want to be doing, helps me find classes that are specifically interesting to me, helps me find summer opportunities, and written me letters of recommendations that have been really exciting. So I think just in general, you just have a lot of opportunities to work one-on-one with professors, and they really genuinely care. Like I feel like I've never had a professor that didn't genuinely care about the students, which is really exciting and valuable.
Thank you. So Leah alluded to a little bit of the summer opportunities and internships. Simone, could you talk a little bit about internship opportunities, and then also if the quarter system at Northwestern has any impact on that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I know that a lot of times people can be worried about Northwestern on the quarter system and how that would impact summer internships. However, Northwestern, first of all, has a lot of really great connections with some great companies that want to hire Northwestern students to do summer work for them. And in that case, they're completely aware of our schedule. Furthermore, I've never met someone who got an internship for the summer and was unable to accept it because of when we get off of school. Employers are generally either familiar or understanding with our quarter system. In terms of internships in general, Northwestern has a program called Chicago Field Studies, which is a program specific to Northwestern. It offers over 100 internships in the Chicagoland area that they help connect Northwestern students with. And you can take those internships either during the summer or during the school year for course credit. So you can take a full quarter of courses, but have them all be through your internship and get credit for that. Or you can do half of your credits in in-person classes and half of them in that internship. So you have a little bit of flexibility and the ability to really start your process into figuring out what you do and don't like in a workplace. And finally, we have a really fantastic career advancement center They host career fairs where they bring these really amazing companies to Northwestern's campus. They'll read your resume, they'll teach you how to do an interview, and they really are a great resource for students, whether students want to get internships, graduate and go on to higher education, go straight into the workforce, or whatever their path.
Thank you, Simone. So we have kind of a fun fact about Quinton, who started us off. He actually began his Northwestern journey in our Medill School of Journalism. So I'm going to throw it back to him real quick to talk a little bit about the journalism program at Northwestern.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the Medill School of Journalism, outside of it having a very long name, it is a really, really fantastic school, as are all of our 6 schools. So the Medill School of Journalism really prides itself or really focuses on ensuring that all of the journalism students have an excellent foundation as to the history of journalism and what it means and for that freedom of expression in this country and across the world. And it does that by, one, you're actually giving you the opportunity to report from the moment you step foot on campus. So you're reporting for assignments, or you could be working for a number of organizations on campus, like the Daily Northwestern organization. I was part of the introductory staff for North by Northwestern, which was an excellent opportunity for students to practice online magazine journalism, fully supported by the faculty of the journalism program, who were, some of them were heads, like chief editors as well from some large organizations, like one of my professors was the head editor-in-chief for the Chicago Sun-Times. So the faculty in the program are, again, they are getting real-world experience, and they're ensuring that our students, from the moment they step foot on campus, are doing the same thing as well. Their learning in Medill is also supported by, as Simone was talking about, supported by, what is it, an internship, or is it a practicum? It's an internship. The journalism residency program, where students are actually interning with the media organization across the country, not just earning credit, but also working in newsrooms from places from the Boston Globe to the New York Times, et cetera. That kind of experience really gives our students a leg up in the real world. Some of my friends, my closest friends were journalism grads from Medill, and they're working for Vox as like the head editor there, New York Times, The Atlantic, et cetera. So it really focuses on giving students real world examples or real world application of what they're learning, and refocusing on the integrity of journalism as an industry.
Thank you, Quinton, for jumping back in and answering that question. So we have another question about study abroad and how common it is for students to study abroad on campus, and if it's possible to study abroad for an entire quarter but still graduate within the 4 years. So Candice, would you be willing to speak a little bit about that study abroad experience?
Definitely. So most definitely you have the opportunity to study abroad no matter what your academic specialization is. We have academic advisors across all the different disciplines to make sure that if you're taking courses abroad, that they'll be able to count towards credits here at Northwestern. And if you choose to study abroad, all of your financial aid will go abroad with you. So studying abroad isn't a question of if you can afford it or if you can graduate on time, but just truly a question of where do you want to go. Personally, this past fall, I studied abroad in Milan in a music program for the fall semester. And what's really great is that most students choose to study abroad during our fall quarter for semester length. Abroad. That's because we're able to actually get more credits studying abroad than if we were at Northwestern. So for me, as being even a dual degree student, by studying abroad, I was able to get so many credits that I actually could have graduated a quarter early. And there's different opportunities of if you want to be in, like my case, a music program, or maybe you're more driven by a certain culture that you want to interact with, or even possibility having an internship or some sort of service learning abroad. Those opportunities are brought to us a lot by our GLO, our Global Learning Office.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing the variety of different options for our students and really highlighting that anyone can study abroad if they really want to. On the flip side of things, though, when students are typically on our Evanston campus, they really get to experience that living, learning environment. So Elam, can you talk a little bit about what residential life on campus is like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I this past year served as a exec member for my residential building, Willard Hall. Sorry, excuse me. I served as the social chair, which basically meant that I got to plan a bunch of really great, interesting events throughout the year, which was awesome. So as a Northwestern student, you live on campus for your first 2 years, and there are 3 different types of dorms that you can live in. The first are residential halls, so they're your classic college dorms. They have all of the amenities that you could possibly need from a college dorm, and they're generally the larger dorms, typically around 200 to 500 students. On the other end of the spectrum, you have residential communities. Residential colleges. Residential colleges are themed dorms. So the most common ones might be the engineering college or the communication studies college. I did live in Willard Residential College, which was the tradition-based college. So there's a bunch of different themes, and these are generally the smaller dorms. They all have a faculty live-in person who plans events and runs stuff like that, which is really great. And then right in the middle, we have residential communities, which are basically a mixture between the residential halls and colleges. They're still focused around the community of people who live in the dorm, planning activities and events and whatnot, but they're not necessarily themed around a specific thing. So they're more general themed, but they still have, the classic college events, which are really great. Some of my favorite events that I have seen at Willard, every week we had a thing called Munchies, which basically was free food for as many people as we could get it to who lived in Willard, which was really cool. We also have these things called fireside chats, which are basically mini TED Talks given by students and professors in Willard. So professors would talk about very specific things. Like I had one of my favorite professors came in and gave a talk about the history of poop, which was really interesting. I've also seen a student give a fireside about how Ferris Bueller's Day Off was an allegory for communism in the 80s. I actually, this past quarter in the winter, gave a fireside about quantum teleportation and how it is possible today. So that was really, really cool. Something I think firesides really highlight are the diversity of interests and whatnot that you can find in residential life, but still the connections that you can make. I think a really great thing about Northwestern is that everybody has that one passion that they just want to share with everybody. And I think that residential life is a really great opportunity to do that. Whether or not you live in these themed or non-themed buildings, you're definitely going to find a community of like-minded Northwestern students who you can connect with.
Great, thank you so much. So another way to find community on campus may be in some of the research opportunities that we have. Some people are really passionate about research, and like Quinton mentioned earlier, research is really accessible to all students at Northwestern. So Leah, would you be able to talk a little bit about your experience with research and then also how accessible it is for first-year students?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think coming to Northwestern, research was always something I was interested in, but I was really scared of it, I think. I had this idea that you had to come in and know what you wanted to research and already have some skills to do that, which isn't really the case at all. If you have skills or ideas, that's great. But you can also really just go for it. As Quinton mentioned, $3.5 million are allocated for undergraduate research, which means there's plenty of resources to go around. My sophomore year, I decided I wanted to try research. And so I ended up just blind emailing a professor. It was a professor I had never met. He wasn't even in the engineering school. He was actually an astrophysics professor. So not even in my discipline, something completely different. But I emailed him because I thought his work was interesting. And then the next day I was working on a project for NASA, which was crazy. I knew nothing. Well, I knew things, but I think the thing that's really exciting is that there's no expectation. People want to teach you and they want to help you learn to become a researcher. I think what's also exciting is that because there's so much research, there's a really large graduate research presence here. there's like tons of postdocs and graduate students who are like really excited to take an undergrad under their wing. This past year, I was working for a different research group, and I had this fantastic graduate student who was constantly helping me along the entire way. And I'm hoping to have like 3 publications out of it, which is just really incredible because these are things I never thought I'd be able to do. And it's actually kind of convinced me I'm interested in a career in research, which is just really exciting.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I can tell how passionate you are about research, which is awesome. So a little fun personal question. Simone, can you share what your favorite place on campus is and why?
Oh, wow. That is such a hard question. I think it's the Norris Student Center. I absolutely adore the Norris Student Center. My first 2 years on campus, I spent more time there than I did in my dorm, and I loved my dorm. But you can sit down at a table, get work done, but have people come say hi to you. So you have that nice social aspect, but you are still able to do work. There's food in the building, a Starbucks, lounges. It has everything you could possibly want. It is my favorite place on campus.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Along with that favorite place on campus, Elam, do you mind sharing one of your favorite traditions on campus?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one of my favorite questions that I get on tours a lot is about traditions. My absolute favorite tradition is what's known as the primal scream, because I think it's hilarious. So every final season, the Sunday before finals starts, every student comes out of their dorm, out of the library that they're studying in, out of the classroom, wherever they are, I believe at 9 p.m., and we all stand outside and scream as loud as we can. It serves 2 purposes. One, it helps relieve stress before finals week, which is always a much needed break from the studying that we all do. And 2, it freaks out Evanston residents every time, which is, I think, pretty funny. But the campus security always knows that it's coming, and they always are manning the phones for any calls that we get about that. But I think it's a really cool thing because it all brings the entire campus together, no matter where you are, no matter if you live on the furthest north building or the furthest south building. It's nice to know that every student is screaming as loud as they can at the exact same time.
Thank you so much. It's a great tradition. Candace, can you share one of your favorite traditions as well?
Yeah, my favorite tradition happens during Wildcat Welcome, which is our first year in transfer orientation. And all of the incoming students are invited to our first home game of the season for football. And all of the incoming students run across the football field. It's always just funny seeing a mass of roughly 2,000 people running across a football field in all purple. And my incoming class, the Wildcat Welcome of 2015, had the record at the time of running across the football field in the fastest time. I haven't checked to see if anyone's beat it, but I'd like to know that at that time we were the best.
Thank you so much for sharing. We have one more academic related question. Simone, would you be able to talk about how easy it is to change your major once you get to Northwestern?
Short answer, very easy. The long answer is, so I came in as an environmental science major. I started taking the required classes for it, some of those science distros, and I just realized it wasn't necessarily the path I wanted to take. So I took an anthropology course on a whim, fell in love, decided that that was the path for me. So changing a major was really just talking with my advisor and getting a paper signed by the advisor for the major that I was taking. Signed it, switched it. It was all good. It happened within literally 24 hours. And that's the same thing if you want to add a major, add a minor. It's very easy. And then you can even do the same thing with switching schools. It takes a few more signatures, but I really just need a few more.
Thank you so much. Love the long and the short answer. So we're going to wrap things up with our last question. I'm going to give this one to Leah to kind of bring us home. And the question is, why did you choose Northwestern? And then is there anything that you have learned during your time at Northwestern that you would now include on your why Northwestern essay?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think for me, my big why Northwestern was that I wanted to kind of follow all my passions. I was really scared of going to somewhere where I'd have to pick a major and be really siloed and only meet people in that major and only really take classes in that area. I knew that I was interested in a lot of different things. And because of the quarter system and because of just the community we have here with so many talented students and professors across disciplines, you can really make your experience exactly what you want it to be. So I knew I wanted to study engineering, so I'm like getting world-class instruction in that, but I also really love dancing, so I get to be in performances and I get to go to sporting events, and I really feel like I didn't have to give up anything I enjoyed to be a college student. I felt like I could really embrace everything, and I also feel like I was able to embrace new things I didn't even know existed that have really been exciting. And I think since being here, the thing I really grown to appreciate is just the people. Everyone here is passionate and they're passionate about different things. One of my roommates is a journalism major and he's like reporting at sporting events. Or I'm a dancer and I do that stuff like that. And I have friends who are doing really cool research and really interesting anything. And it's just really cool to be surrounded by people with such diverse interests, but we all share passions for what we're doing, which I think is really exciting.
Thank you so much for sharing, Leah, and thank you to all of our student panelists for sharing your personal experiences, your stories, your traditions, and your love for Northwestern. I'm going to go ahead and throw it back to Quinton to bring us home.
Home at Northwestern. Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We had the great questions you guys asked and great group of answers from our students. So thank you so much, everyone, for participating and for joining. We hope that this was very informative. There's so much to learn to continue your interest at the university. There should be some links over there in the chat box of some additional opportunities to continue to engage with us. There's additional programming happening just this week on our admissions YouTube channel, so be sure to check that out as well. If you have any questions about anything, look around, ask us questions. We are here for you. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and go Cats. Bye, everybody. Bye.